All right, the first lesson of the action module is just start, find answers, and take action step by step. It's so easy to sit there and read about something. It's just as easy to talk about it, but much harder to follow through with the words you write down or speak. What's holding you back from taking action, though? Is it because you fear what others think? Or maybe you don't even know the steps to take. And there's nothing wrong with not knowing the steps. We all start out like that. Honestly, we all start out not knowing. And that's why it's so important to study, right? It's tough to take action on something you don't know much about. And to be honest, books sometimes don't have all the answers. The best teacher is real experience. All you really have to do is just get over the fear of starting and just start. Taking blogging, for example, you can read about blogging all you want, all the strategies you want to, the SEO, everything that has to do with blogging, you can read about it all you want. But if you don't actually make a blog yourself, start writing, then you will not know how to do it. Yes, maybe the knowledge will be good for you. Maybe that knowledge will be sitting in your brain, but if you don't do anything with it, then it's not going to do you any good. It's good to read. It is very good to read several books. Ask questions to the people you know who have blogged before. Or type in some questions on Google and find a plethora of answers that some of them are not so deep, but nonetheless, they are answers. But until you actually start doing something with those answers, you won't go anywhere. Continuing with the blogging example, if you're just starting out your blog, the first thing you might want to do is start a free blog. This could go for anything else. Anything else that you might be able to start for free. It doesn't have to be a blog. I'm just using it as an example. But if you start out something for free, you don't have any fear of losing any capital. Although blogs are awfully cheap nowadays to actually, make your own website, make your own blog, they are pretty cheap. But if you really don't want to put money down for a domain, then you can get a free blog. That way you don't have so much pressure, but there's also a backfire to that. If you're not putting pressure on yourself, then you won't really be pushing yourself to do well. So sometimes it could be vice versa. Maybe you do want to put money down. That way it will motivate you and say, hey, I really need to succeed on this. There's a positive to investing money in something. It motivates you to make sure that you do a fantastic job rather than just saying, oh, this is a free site, so it doesn't really matter how well I do with it. The latter is not a good attitude to have when you're trying to progress towards your big goal. Another positive thing of having your own website maybe is freedom to design it how you want, and also freedom to grow how you want. A free blog, it's a bit harder to grow, and plus it's not as flexible. But if you do decide going the free route, then a good thing about it is you can build up your skills before you end up investing money in it. I mean, that's how I started back in 2015, is just with a bunch of free stuff and just building up my skills, building it up until I felt comfortable enough with the skills that I had to start investing money in it. Not everyone has that option, but those of you who do have a primary job, You could do it like this. You could, but realize it will take longer than if you just straight away invest money in it and go from there and put all your effort and motivation and grit and perseverance into your work. So after getting your blog or your other business set up, you can start writing. You can create, improve your SEO skills, and just creating the habit of putting content out there you want other people to read. Building up your email list. That way, when you do have another product, a service, you can release it to those people who already are following you, subscribe to you for maybe years. It's another great way of building an audience that trusts you. There's so much that goes into something as simple, quote unquote, as blogging. And if done right, the results can be amazing. And you can apply this skill to, you can have a blog for any type of business that you create, because blog is good for search engine optimization. So I do recommend getting a blog. I do. So let's talk just a little bit more about it. And if you already have a blog, awesome. If you don't, I suggest getting one. It's not a requirement though. You can take these rules I mentioned in the story, take these rules about blogging, apply them in any field. I'll break it down for you simply. 1, decide what you want to start. 2, ask Google or people who have experience in the area. You don't know much about that topic, ask them. Get their answers, get their feedback. And maybe even ask them for advice on what to take action on first. 3, make a plan. 4, take action with a free option or maybe even a paid one to test the waters. 5, iterate to refine your idea. 6, invest in a low-cost option or even a higher one if you feel that, hey, this is ready to get out there in the public. This is ready to go. I want people to experience this. I want people to buy this. If you really are ready, then invest your all in it. 7, upgrade from there, brick by brick, pumping more energy, time, and money into your product, into your service. 8, adjust your course or abandon if need be. In the case that you need to maybe pivot, it's okay. It's not a problem to pivot, right? If you feel like you got it wrong the first time, go ahead and pivot. If you just feel like it's not working out for you, it's also okay to abandon. But give your product or your service time. Give it time, because these types of things do take time. This type of mindset of gradual improvement will do wonders in any other part of your life. You can apply this skill to any other skill that you set your mind to develop. Also, you'll notice that while you're in the process of taking action, you might have to make adjustments along the way. Taking action is not linear. There will be obstacles in the way, and you will have to find how to get beyond those obstacles by reiterating your original actions or even abandoning them. If it's complete, if it's incompatible, with your big goal. Remember, in the previous module, you learned how to make a plan from the ideas that you want to implement in your life. You can apply the steps above for any idea you want to implement in your life, and pay especially close attention to step number 4, because that will be your friend anytime you come in contact with obstacles. If worse comes to worse, you can always try to find a mentor or join an online course to help you get to the next level, well beyond where you're at right now. Experiment with what you learn. One other thing you could take into consideration is from the previous module about taking action on the ideas coming out at you from the books you read, as well as random places like when you're taking a walk or taking a shower. The combination of your own unique ideas that come from your own experiences and the things that you learn from the books that you're reading are essential to take action on. Now, all you need to do is take that plan and implement it. Take it step by step. I know this can be quite difficult if you have no idea what you're doing, but it's important just to start. Take it step by step and don't be overwhelmed by the big picture. If you worry too much about the big picture, you will be fearful of taking the necessary steps. So rather than continually looking at the big picture, focusing on the big picture, focus on the steps you need to take, the small steps you take, right? That doesn't mean that you forget about the big picture. You should still know what that big picture is, what that big goal is, right? Your big goal. You should still know what it is. It just means that you put it to the side while you're focusing on the small steps you need to take in order to reach that big goal. This is so important. And I'll tell you what, I started doing stuff with Bookmatic back in 2015. That's when I first started reading the nonfiction books. So I started this journey back then. And at that time, I had no idea that it was going to turn into something a lot bigger. But I took it step by step. I still had a job at that time. I was still working from 7 a.m. until 3 p.m. 8 hours a day I was working. And then I would just put a little bit of time into Bookmatic every single day. Started out with a free blog and built up from there. So really, these small, consistent steps make a huge difference over time. It is an amazing difference what small, powerful steps can make. So I want to give you also this analogy of building book steps. Building book steps. So when I imagine reading books, nonfiction books, I imagine that I am building a staircase of books. So the stairs up above me are not even complete yet, right? What I need to do to climb those steps is I need to keep on reading the books. And then taking action, right? Putting it into a plan and then taking action. So once I have taken action, then I read some more books. I put them down as the foundation and I make a plan and keep on building, basically building steps and climbing. So you can see in this slide here that the person is climbing up the steps. They are taking the books, they're setting the books as the foundation and then going up further. That is the amazing thing about SPAR. This is why I created SPAR. Because I realized that books are the foundation. Planning and action are the fuel, right? So we take these books, we put them into a plan after we read them, and then we move up. So it's really an amazing analogy, and it's something that I want you to remember and implement in your life. I promise this will alleviate a lot of the stress you were having and experiencing. If you take these small actions and you build upon your foundation with more and more books, plans, and actions, you will not feel stress anymore. You will feel so used to doing this, it will become such an easy habit for you. It will become so much easier. So apply this principle. Now, you are building up your resilience by taking action, making it a habit. Move on to the next lesson about taking advantage of 10% wins to help you compound your progress even more. We talked about 10% wins before, so now we will really get deeply into it. And if you want to study more about it, you definitely can. And like I said, I recommend Cadence by Pete Williams. So let's find out more in the next lesson. See you there.